My name is Ryan Robinson. This is Lee Townsend, and we're going to be talking about sustainability, a sustainable mindset in the music industry. Because obviously, you know, our local planet Earth, and we kind of need to save it because we all live here, and it'd be a shame if the house fell down. With other things to do with sustainability, you need gender equality, fresh water for everybody, just like basic things that everybody really needs, to be honest. You agree?
I do agree. Yeah.
He does agree. So yeah, we're going to start off with some examples of like actual things that already happen in the music industry. So we've got some simple examples, and then we've got more like detailed stuff that we'll be talking about later. Then we'll move on to festivals, and then we have obviously Lou's already here, and then we've got 3 other guests that we'll be able to have a discussion with. So I just wanted to quickly mention, I'm going to start with talking about Billie Eilish real quick. She has launched her own sustainable clothing line with H&M, and she's also signed a deal or like mixed in with Reverb Entertainment or just .org, and they're setting up like educational villages at her concerts, and they're going to be called like eco villages, and you can they're going to educate everybody who comes to their show and refill their water bottles, so it encourage the less plastic use and the reuse of existing water bottles and stuff like that. Then we have the 1975s that did they printed new designs on old shirts. Lou told me about that one. He was very very big fan of last album.
I didn't like it.
Oh.
But yeah, they were at like festivals, they were headlining like Reading. They'd take a t-shirt printing thing and kind of get fans to bring their old merch and then get it reprinted so that it was a new design, but like on top of an old t-shirt, so it's more sustainable.
Yeah, it was the green ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're like fluorescent green.
Mm.
But they were still printing new t-shirts anyway. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. These are like examples with the whole Billie Eilish thing, doing sustainable clothing line with sustainable materials. I couldn't find anything specific about what the materials are, but I guess like biodegradable or something like that. But they can always improve, and you can do better than reusing existing clothes. No, you can do better than reusing merch you haven't sold and then having to print more because it was successful.
Yeah.
And then you can do better than making new clothes out of sustainable materials. And this is where Milky Chance comes in, which is going to be the main talking point of existing examples, is that they basically so reselling branded material is illegal in most countries, so they can't just put a Milky Chance logo on an already existing t-shirt, like if it had a Nike tick or something like that, or Adidas. They'd go to jail or they'd pay a fine, it's whatever. And then, but in contrast, on the same like level, the fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters of the environment with this sort of like entertainment industry we've got going on. So what they did was, to every show, they took a screen printer, and fans could bring their own t-shirts and then get their stuff printed on to whatever they want, so they get around the law that way. I thought that was quite smart. And then they also sold water bottles, and then they had 2 charities. This is all with the merch stand. They had 2 charities. One with the water bottle one was the Safe Drinking Water to Africa, so that's one of the sustainable goals. And then the actual t-shirt merch was specifically about funding the what would you call it? You wouldn't call it production, you call it travel of clean water rather than it itself. And with these merch stands that they had at their gigs, there was educational material as well. So it's sort of like the Billie Eilish thing, apart from they've already done it. This was a tour that happened last year. I was going to go, but unfortunately, I bought the tickets and everything, but I couldn't unfortunately go because we went somewhere else. But
did you resell the ticket?
No, I just gave it. I gave it to one of my friends. You know, I'm charitable like that.
Yeah.
Charity, you know, we're all about sustainability.
That's a lesson that you should learn from this channel.
To reuse your tickets if you don't. Anyways, but yeah, I thought that was one step up from the 1975s and Billie Eilish doing the clothing line, because they've already happened. But when it comes to like education and the whole what Billie Eilish has promised she's going to do at her gigs, and well, yeah, Milky Chance already did it. You know what I mean? And it worked. And I don't know how many people could read the poster, especially because it's in like a gig environment, so it's going to be dark and stuff like that. You know, you get the little torches on the merch stands, but it's not really.
You don't really want to go to a gig to read an educational poster, do you?
No, that's what that was. That, but it makes me interested in what Billie Eilish would actually like. Her team would come up with to translate the information rather than just like reading off a wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I suppose they do it in a way suited to their audience. Well, you'd hope so.
How do you reckon she'd do it if you had to think of it on the spot?
So you're suggesting on Billie Eilish's management now?
You can be Billie Eilish if you want.
I don't want to be. No idea. I don't get how. The thing is, I wouldn't go to a gig and expect to be educated.
But that's what it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's a good thing.
There's many sayings, but the general aspect of what I've got in my head is people always think that you need to be educated to understand, and that's when caring comes into play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you knew, like it's like the David Attenborough thing on the Netflix and that. If people know what's going on and why it's affected, that's what makes you care a little bit more. It's like loads of people like gone like vegan and help the planet and stuff after David Attenborough released that Life on Our Planet.
Yeah.
You know, the Netflix one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was sort of like a form of education. So that's why I feel like it's important, but I do get your point of it being at like a live environment. I'm trying to picture people singing along to Bad Guy while some people in Eco Village. I'm imagining an igloo. But,
well, the thing is that we sing along to Bad Guy in their sustainable T-shirt.
Of course.
That they've just bought from the
H&M.
Eco Village.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why going back to it all, I think Milky Chance did the skeleton of it. I think they did the clothing thing a bit better, just having screen printers there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to charge them that much. That's why I feel like recreating the way Billie Eilish did it, recreating sustainable clothes for H&M. I kind of feel like, yeah, it's I don't know, it's just, I think it's money. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's why 1975 made more merch, even though that's the whole reason of reusing shirts, was because of the money. But that's why I really respect Milky Chance for just getting people to bring T-shirts and then just
Well, and then 1975 did that, but they know that not everyone's going to want a printed shirt on top of a shirt that's already printed from an old gig that they went to. So as long, I feel like if they're using recycled materials to make the shirts, it's a bit better than just making a shirt out of fast fashion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like the screen printing thing's just a sick idea.
Yeah.
Like there's been many times when I've got a bit carried away, where I have bought a T-shirt at a gig and just thrown my other one away because if me and my friends, you know, we wear rubbish T-shirts to throw away. You know what I mean?
And that's the problem with buying rubbish T-shirts.
I know, and that's what I mean. So I double littered and added to the problem.
Yeah.
But I was younger and
have you learned from that?
Yeah, I've definitely learned from that now.
Did Billie Eilish teach you not to?
Billie Eilish, she taught me not to throw away T-shirts at gigs.
Yeah.
It was actually school IQ, but it's fine.
Oh.
But yeah. Anyways, I wanted to move on to the 1975 again, with their festival looking at gender equality. And this is something that you brought up to me the other day, and I found it very interesting. The fact that I don't know that Well, yeah, they were the only males in the lineup, you said? Because I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like a 50-50 festival when you first told me.
No, well, they've curated the lineup for the festival. I think a lot of them are on their label, Dirty Hit.
Is
But
that what the label's called?
yeah, but the other than the 1975, the whole lineup is just females, and they're all acts that if you like the 1975, you will probably like as well.
Okay.
They're not just like shoehorning female artists into.
Pale Waves. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Yeah. Are they on that?
I don't think they're on that.
Ah.
It's like Charlie XCX and Phoebe Bridgers.
She's signed to 1975s?
I don't think so.
Oh, right.
But some of them are. Like Beaver Doobie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really odd. I thought it was. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's just kind of like doing a whole lineup of women, and then having you headline. I don't know. I thought it was a bit. It's a bit confusing either way. I don't know. Anyway, it was good. What they did. It didn't end up happening though. Also, you said every ticket planted a tree.
Yeah.
So that's good. Hopefully they didn't refund too many tickets because it didn't end up happening because COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did it get moved or did
I
they just
think it's
cancel
been
it?
rescheduled to next year.
Oh, that's pretty good. Same line though?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But thing is they're doing this whole gig and they're planting a tree for every ticket sold. But will it equate to the amount of like carbon that the gig will produce, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're still going to put on the massive stage show with the giant screens and build a giant stage and everything.
That's the really odd part though, because that's a weird thing about when it comes to these like sustainable goals.
Yeah.
That people always aim for one and then let down the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen the 1975 when they played the headline show at Leeds, and their whole thing was like save the world and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really hear about. They were the headliner, and yeah, like we were talking about education before, but I didn't hear about anything that the 1975s did to as a headliner to impact Leeds Fest and their carbon footprint. You know what I mean? So
other than the t-shirt printing.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. They played this festival with it and they had their message, but it wasn't really like applied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's why they're putting on their own festival now, because I think they also pledged to only play like 50-50 lineup festivals now.
All right.
So I don't think they'll be playing Reading anytime soon again.
Yeah.
They've done all this after the fact. So like they've headlined Reading, they've done that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying they're not going to do that again unless the lineup's 50-50. But they've still done it.
Yeah, but that's what. Yeah.
But now they're in a position to be able to do it, aren't they? Now they're big, they're huge, they can do it. It's all about taking a stand and using your voice to make a difference within sustainability.
But that's the thing. As someone who's already big enough to headline, and then headlined.
Yeah.
As soon as they've done it and they've got that ticked off the like to do box, because he was talking on stage. He was talking about he used to go to that festival. It was his dream to play that festival. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's double standards, but it's just kind of they're just people at the end of the day. You know?
But it's a good thing that they're now putting on their own festival and creating that
opportunity. It is.
To play if they're not getting booked at the other festivals.
Of course, yeah.
I think it's important to remember, guys, that sustainability isn't just being 100% sustainable 100% of the time, because that is physically impossible unless you start pooing in the woods, and it's impossible. But it's taking positive steps to eliminate some of the negative impacts that your actions are creating. So that's what it's all about. It's all about minimizing the impact.
Yeah.
And so it's not about being 100% sustainable 100% of the time, because good luck with that. Really good luck to you. It's about being as sustainable as you can and reducing the impacts where you can. And it's not very convenient to do that in the music industry because it's so carbon intensive. There's so much going on, but there are lots of little things you can do, such as sustainable merch, such as strategically planning your tour so you don't go back and to America 5 times over 2 years. That's ridiculous. Do America at once. Yeah, it's all these things. We're looking at sustainable festivals. There's some great things that festivals are doing, such as Coachella. They had almost like exercise bikes for you to charge your own phone up. Just these little initiatives that help to reduce the carbon emissions and help to make music industry in general more sustainable. We can't talk about them. They're doing that, but they're doing all this. That's having a big impact. They're one of the biggest bands in the world at the moment. Of course, there's going to be lots of carbon emissions. There's going to be lots of impacts, but do what you can to reduce those impacts. And it's all about embedding sustainability in everything we do.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before they did their festival. They had this message, but they didn't apply it until after they've ticked it off their box. So I feel like that's what I was saying about like having the well, not an agenda, but it's just they wanted to play it, so they played it, and then you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's not that deep, really.
I don't think it's an agenda. I think it's the fact.
No, that's what I mean. It wasn't.
When you have a headline leads and you haven't got that experience and that background from being such a huge artist, you're not in a negotiating position to say, well, I'm not doing Leeds Fest when you've never done it. Or whatever, because you need that to grow your career, to be in a better position, to be able to make a bigger stand on issues of sustainability.
Or printing more t-shirts.
Yeah. I suppose only time will tell whether they carry on that message then.
Yep.
Or whether they.
Speaking about little steps, I'm going to move on now to further Milky Chance. That was Kane, everyone. The further steps, little things that bands like Milky Chance are doing. They did. It was like 80% of the time no plastic on tour whatsoever. They made everybody. They had a crew of 12, so that's 4 band members, 8 crew, and they all had metal water bottles made at the start of the tour, and there was nothing in their riders that of anything like plastic or anything like that. It was all like a green rider, and they said it was to become the standard, because if everybody had a green rider, it would slowly push towards that becoming like the norm, really. And then they had other things like green energy and stuff like that venues use. Apparently there's some in America that already do it, and the more that becomes like expected, and the more people use like LEDs in their stage show and stuff like that, the more it become the standard, and then we'll slowly move the curve will slowly move towards a greener thing. And Glastonbury sold it was 1.3 million plastic bottles over 5 days, and now Louis showed me in 2019 plastic bottles were not available, because that was a bad headline when that came out.
Yeah. I suppose they just went, we're just going to sell cans of water now instead of bottles of water.
Is that what they did?
Yeah. And like you can see like the artists on stage drinking cans. And I remember watching Dave's set, and someone asked for a bottle of water, and he just went, "No, just have a can of water,
That's
no
good.
plastic." Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. It's all like it's getting there. It's becoming the norm slowly as we go on to like festivals and stuff like that.
It needs like a Glastonbury, the biggest festival in the world, to do an act like that. So then it'll just trickle down for everyone to change.
Like Download and Leeds being there, they have water refill stations now, and they did this thing where they didn't sell what was it? They didn't sell they sold reusable cups.
Yeah.
Instead of the cardboard ones that they usually did. So you could use it again, and apparently, this is according to an article, that it was easier to carry 5 pints because they were more stable. So it works both ways, really.
And I know you can at these festivals you can put like a £2 deposit down and get a big like plastic cup. It's like a bit of memorabilia, but if you don't want to keep it, you can take it back and get your deposit back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they used to do with the cardboard ones and the one-use ones. Was that you always see you got to go to most Festival Republic ones. You always see the people like stacking them.
Yeah, like the
big
kids
one.
with the towers walking around.
Yeah, yeah.
Their parents have just left them to go and pick up cups off the floor.
Yeah, no, because you get money for that.
Yeah,
when you take it to the recycling bin. The problem we were talking about prior to this was like prior to the panel is that we're talking about the tent situation.
Yeah.
Because they have, what is it? They beg people, download leads, run them all that to take them home.
Yeah.
And but the problem was they didn't make it like easy for people, because I know people who just leave their tents. Like I think when I was younger, I left 1 or 2 tents. I don't do it anymore because we've got a big tent that we use every year now with my mates. But people who like rip their tents and stuff like that, or I know people who have like broken zips and stuff, and they just boot it over and then they just boot it over and then leave. But you had to take your tent to like a drop zone or like the little marketplace where they sold like firewood and stuff like that.
And
you'll know if you've been to
it wouldn't be nowhere near the exit either. So you'd have to go out your way on the last day when you're all shattered.
Yeah.
Over,
you have to carry everything anyways. It is the worst the worst day.
You could say though, if you can't be bothered spending 15, 20, half hour throwing your tent, giving your tent to throwing it away, whatever, then maybe you just shouldn't go to the festival if you just can't be asked doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I think it could have been, but you made a great point there, Mark. If you now always take your tent back with you because you've got a big tent for you and your friends, it's convenient for you now to take that tent away with you. And it's all about convenience for people on terms of sustainability. If it's convenient for them to do it, they will do it. If it's difficult for them to do it, they're more likely not to, unless they really care about the environment. And so it's all about making it as convenient and easy as possible for everyone to make sustainable choices, whether that be artists, customers, companies. It doesn't matter. It needs to be as easy as possible to make sustainable choices.
Yeah. Cool, man. Anyways, the one more thing just on festivals, I just wanted to point out that they were selling biodegradable glitter. Yeah, that was the last thing I put down. I think we're going to move on to invite Esme on. Sure. Yeah. Esme, if you want to turn your camera on and thing.
Hello.
Hi, Esme.
Hi.
All right.
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Loving it so far. You guys are on it.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I'm learning a lot. I really am.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we wanted to get Tristan on as well because I know Tristan had an example to talk about as well, and I thought we'd have like a little discussion.
And this is when Kane is meant to join as well.
Yeah.
Butting in, doesn't
I'm here. I just thought it might be important to get a little bit more than just looking at plastic bottles at a festival. Wider perspectives.
Yeah. Tristan.
Yes.
You all right?
Good.
We spoke about this prior, that you had an example, and we were going to talk about these examples just like on the spot. Is that all good?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the example I came up with, it kind of links to everything you guys were saying just a minute ago about the whole festivals thing. There's this organization called Vision 2025. And they basically do an annual report every year about environmental sustainability at festivals, seeing whether it's gotten better or worse, all of that.
Yeah.
And this year, though, because of obviously COVID, and there's not really been any festivals, obviously, this summer, they changed it so that they're trying to get festival organizers to think about the future and think about what they're going to start doing now to try and reduce all of their carbon impact post-COVID. And they've been able to get 100, actually I'll put a link to the news article and all that in the chat. Yeah, they basically were able to get over 100 festival organizers to pledge to reduce their carbon emissions by 50% by 2025.
You say 100 festivals?
Yeah, over 100 festival operators. Yeah.
That's pretty. So like, yeah, that's pretty good. That like I was so meaning operators like Festival Republic and stuff like that. You know, they put on like.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the ins and outs. It just said that in the article. But yeah, the last link is also to this example of somebody. There was an event that happened in Weston-super-Mare, where they did an outdoor event with a bunch of artists, and they were able to do everything with like locally sourced food to like promote people to just walk and cycle, and like solar power for all of their power sources. And I think it also said something about, yeah, people had to bring their own refillable bottles, like you guys were saying.
And this is gonna happen, or as
this happened?
It's already happened.
It happened in August, but the report about it just came out a few days ago.
Okay. Did it go well? What did the article say?
It's the last link in the bottom. She basically goes on to say, yeah, I would say overall it was a success. They were able to have it socially distanced and everything. And it says something, yeah, it goes into details about all of their solar batteries. I don't exactly know about the, kilowatts per hour. Yeah, it seems like it was good.
Yeah.
Helping the situation.
It's really good, and that's like what we were saying before, and Kane was saying before, with they've taken like the whole COVID thing as an opportunity to like regroup in a sense, and then slowly move towards these things, making them the norm.
Yeah. Do you mind if I talk about banking for a minute?
Yeah, we can talk about banking.
That's with a B, ladies and gentlemen. Banking. Ethical banking, I don't know if you've heard of it, but you could be the most sustainable person in the world, living in a forest with a fox as a friend, whatever. But if you're banking with a lot of banks like HSBC, Barclays, and there's many of them out there, you're basically undoing all of the good work that you've been working hard at, because these banks invest heavily into fossil fuels and things like that. So you're putting money into a bank account that is then paying for fossil fuels and all this. So it's important to do your research into the bank that you use. And this is not just as an individual, this is also as a corporation level. Corporations need to be more sensible about where they're putting their money.
Great point.
Yeah, you got any thoughts on that, Esme?
To be fair, I didn't catch most of that because like you had both mics on the same time.
Sorry, I was trying to fix that as it's hard to communicate with with two things going on at once. You know? Yeah.
Banking.
I missed most of what was said about the banking. I'm not gonna lie. What was that about?
Just in case anyone missed it, I'll briefly say it again.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Banking wise, the majority of banks, the likes of HSBC, Barclays, and places like that, they invest a lot of the money that they are given essentially into fossil fuels and things like that. And so, no matter how sustainable you are, your money is going directly into fossil fuels. And this is not just an individual issue, this is a corporation issue. Right? Companies need to pick sensibly the banks that they are using to keep their money, because they are inadvertently basically paying to invest in fossil fuels whilst also trying to be sustainable. And that's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, to be fair.
Because there was a lot of these people who who pledged to put money into like sustainability and stuff like that, and then it kind of fizzled out. It just kind of trickled away, you know. But that I was more speaking about like businesses and stuff like that, because they were talking in the context of like banks and stuff. I don't know a lot about that like area of things, but I know that it just kind of, they've always said they're giving money to charity and stuff like that, or like they're doing money like directly into their own company, but then it's just kind of like fizzled away. And I know it's been pointed out by a few people about a few different things that I've been part of conversations and stuff like that. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there as well.
I mean, it's difficult to know like what companies are actually doing good like stuff for sustainability. Like I know that I'm not great at researching stuff and like knowing what companies are great for sustainability and not. So if like this information was readily available, I'd be able to make a smarter decision about it. But like I'm not very good at researching, so which is great for a third year student, but never mind.
Bringing it back to music, I know Louis had some examples he wanted to bring up about Falls and Bring Me Horizon.
Yeah, well, they're kind of just two examples of two artists that are using their voice through like their music, which is their main art, I suppose. But yeah, they're kind of using their voice through like lyrics and their album artwork to kind of represent what's going on in the world, so that there's like a greater understanding. So I know Foals last year, they released a 2-part album in which it was called Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost. And that's kind of a daunting statement.
Yeah, it's quite heavy.
But like it was a 2-part album, so they had 2 different album covers. And the first part was like this red like tree that looked like amazing. It was an amazing photo. And then the second part was like a gloomy graveyard with like a cross like as a gravestone, and it was all dark and miserable. And it's kind of like their way of saying like what's happening with like global warming and everything in a way that seems natural to them, basically. So it doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and like they're going on tour, they're touring the world with it, and so more people get an understanding through like their lyrics and their music, and they kind of like the whole last tour was kind of based around this album concept, and they go to like the award shows that they were going to, and they hold up like a flag saying "No music on a dead planet" for like when they're getting photos taken of them. So any that they had last year, it was all based around this concept of global warming's happening and something needs to be done about it. It's kind of good coming from a massive band like Foals.
Massive.
I mean, the headline Reading.
The right word, I don't know. What was so there was that, and I know they've got the message and stuff. There's a photo showing us big flag. Still got it?
Yeah.
And I turn the laptop around. Look, big flag, small man.
Oh.
Right, no, up a bit. There you go.
That's the flag.
And then the other example, unless because that's just kind of like standard stuff as well. I feel like Bring Horizon's got the same sort of approach to it as well.
It's all very in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kane's doing a bit of crowd control. No, yeah, basically. Bring Me Horizon have just released an EP, and yeah, the whole like concept of it is literally just like Dying Planet, and it's very heavy. It's one of the heaviest things I've released in a while. Got good reviews as well, which always helps for something that's actually got a message.
Yeah. I suppose because like they've changed the way they make it, their music sounds and it's like so shocking people are going to listen to it, and then it's also good that it's got that underlying message as well.
Do you reckon music needs to be heavy or punkish or like grotty to have a message, or do you reckon Drake could make a 2C slide about the environment? You know, that's what I mean. Because like most people, the messages are always some part of some sort of, not really radio or like Billboard, but Billboard's not radio. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose people don't want to hear that on the radio.
I think it
Yeah,
depends.
that's a good point.
I think you get the odd songs that break through that are about something that's like beyond surface level.
Yeah,
But yeah, it just depends on whether it gets hyped up or not.
I think it probably comes down to authenticity, doesn't it?
yeah.
Like if he looks like he actually does give a crap about the issue, then there's a chance it'll work. But if not, then it just looks a bit fake, doesn't it?
You could argue, well, I know it is about sustainability, and we have been talking about the environment a lot, but you could argue, I know a few songs that get in the charts that have the theme of equality, and even just like like a song like WAP, it's just kind of like the power behind like a woman. There's no like man involved, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like it's I don't know how to describe it. What's the general phrase? But it's like the power behind that specific gender, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
I also think it also like depends on what's like trending, like what kind of I don't know, sustainability issues that are trending at that time. Like depends on what kind of message people put out there, because they know like, oh, people are paying attention to this, let's make a song based on this kind of thing. Like it really does depend on what's going on in the world as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I feel like that is a good note to wrap up. You think?
Sure.
All good. Yeah, a little breakout room. Cheers, guys, for joining me. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Social distance high five.
Yeah, you know. Bluetooth. I was going to say, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for watching. I know it was a bit of a scatterbrained kind of type of conversation, but that's what I really wanted. I know people did presentations, but I wanted this more to be like a discussion, really. That's why I brought Louis on. Thank you, Louis, co-hosting. Thank you, King, Tristan, Martha.